Just a bit of special effects for you. I told you I was a filmmaker. Just wanted to show you how talented I am. Let's get right into it. Episode 3 of The Wheel of Time. This episode is one of, if not my favorite episode so far, and I've watched all 5 of them that have come out so far. And that is for one specific reason, and probably a taste reason.
She has good taste.
Which is that Matt and Rand's story, which is going very quickly downhill for them, is paralleled by the cinematography, costuming, and set design. The costuming of the characters, whether it's Matt or Rand or all the characters in the Breen Spring, they look dirty, they look gritty, they look worn, they look torn, that sort of deal. And the sets themselves, they look well used and well worked and honest to the reality of what it's like to work in a coal mine, which I've had an issue with in some of the other storylines where people look like they've just come from the dry cleaners when they're in the middle of a forest and on a mountaintop. Yes, I like the parallel of their story getting darker and everything around them getting darker as well. Next thing I liked was a small little moment, but I'm sure you will not be surprised to hear it, is when Dana is showing Rand to his quarters and is like, yeah, you guys gonna have a little slap and tickle to make up? And I just love how casual she says this. Nobody in this world, even in a small secluded coal mine in the middle of nowhere, even being gay there doesn't matter, which I specifically say secluded because that's often where you see most prejudices in places where they're not used to different things. But in this world, everyone's used to everything, and sexuality doesn't matter. And I just freaking love it. Next thing I loved was Tom's Gleeman's cloak. That freaking cloak, man, I would buy that shit in a second. In a second. You know, this is kind of my point. Like, I love some color. I've been saying I had a bit of an issue with some of the colors we've seen. But this is a perfect example of how you can kind of use something from the books, but make it feel a bit more authentic. You know, a bit more grounded. You know, a bit more part of the world. Like, he's wearing this nice coat, and then you just see this small flap, this small gesture to the fans of his patches. Part of me believes and hopes that it's reversible, and when he goes to cities where Gleemans are more widely respected, he might just flip it inside out and be like, hello, I'm here! The next thing I liked was the strong connection between Lan and Moiraine, even when she's on her literal deathbed. Even in those moments, I'm just like, they've done a really good job of connecting these two characters, and I just liked it. And I thought it was great exposition to have Nynaeve explain that Lan can feel the pain that she feels. So that's just a nice example of the writers giving us information, exposition, without choking us with it. I'm sorry. Oh my god, that's strong. What the fuck? Ugh. I might go into orbit with that one. Ugh. The next thing I loved was the Tinkers. They look great. I think I didn't, totally vibe with how scary they seemed to be coming out of the mist like that. They were just like, do you know the song? Do you know the song? And I was like, no, we don't know the fucking song. I just, it's fine. I think they're just trying to create some drama on the screen because, this is a TV show. Gotta be dramatic. I like the way they look, though. Thought their clothes looked great. Okay, next thing I really like is the music. I'm just out here like, that's, I just, every time the music gets louder, I'm like Lorne Balfe just was like, he was just like, let's make some music today. Let's make some bangers today. The music is so good that sometimes when I don't like a scene, I almost like it anyways because the music is so fucking good. Next thing I like is that Matt's into cougars. Like when Rand's like, oh, I thought she's a little young for you, and he's like, yeah, kind of, but I can make exceptions. But I'm like, ooh, my boy likes an old lady. My boy likes an older woman. There's some repercussions for that I'm interested to see what they do with that. If you read the books, then if you know, you know. Next thing I like is that Nynaeve, with her preparedness, with her potions, that's the flower I need. That's the leaf I want. That's the thing I need. That's what I need to make my potion. She's just out here knowing shit. And I'm like, I love a prepared bitch. Her mortar and pestle on hand when she needs it to cure the Moiraine, who is the love of my life. Every time Nynaeve is on screen, every time so far, I've just been like, sorry, I was talking about her potioning and shit, but I'm also just like, Nynaeve! Next thing I liked was, Dana. Needest you me to say the more things about Dana? Or do you know immediately what I mean? You know, in the books, dark friends come out of a fucking mile away. You see, like, one line being like, there's a person in the inn that is looking suspiciously at Rand. Rand doesn't notice this. Rand then becomes friends with said person, and said person tries to murder him! Murder. And in the book, we're reading it, and we're like, how is he so fucking stupid? Why would anyone be your friend? You should be suspicious immediately! But in the show, I'm like, of course he wants to be his friend. Like, I was going with it. I was like, I mean, she's cute, he's cute, we do what we do. Like, he needs to move on from Egwene. Like, it's gotta happen. It might as well happen this way. But then she asked, like, where are you guys going? And I was like, oh shit, I have been bamboozled. I have been bamboozled. I just thought it was so good, though, because usually dark friends, you knew who they were. This time I'm like, not only did I not know she was coming, but when I found out she was coming, and then she explained herself to me, I was like, I mean, fair. This is a tough fucking world. I like that they're making our dark friends and the ones who work for the dark a little bit more relatable, because otherwise it kind of loses interest. Something that doesn't have any depth is hard to find scary. That's where fear comes from, is when danger is met with realism. Next thing I liked was, back to Nynaeve. Don't want to get too far away from Nynaeve at any point in time, but just that chemistry between her and Lan. These two love each other. Maybe nobody thinks that yet, but I'm just out here knowing it. So, yeah, there was a lot of things I loved about this episode. I honestly feel like I just want to not say too much, because then we would never get to the end of this. Now I'm going to talk about the things I didn't love. I don't like it. There's this moment when Matt's asking Rand if he can borrow his coat, and Rand's like, oh, are you cold? Wah. And it's like, boy, you got this freaking wool coat on because you're a farmer, and your boy is poor as hell, going through a lot of shit, and you're just making fun of him because he's cold and you don't want to lend your coat? Oh, God. You know, Rand really bothers me sometimes. It's not something I necessarily even dislike for the show. I just dislike it, like, as a person. Next thing I didn't like, and this one is going to be controversial, because everyone else loves this. But Tom singing in the inn. I'll preface this by saying I love the song. I think it sounds great. I love when he slams his boot down like Captain Morgan. I enjoy it. But it's so freaking melodramatic. He's just coming into this inn where all these people are already depressed as hell because they work in a mine and are all moments away from death, apparently, as Dana has described it. And you're just over here singing a sad-ass song in the middle of an inn and expecting money for it. I was just like, Tom wouldn't do that. No good salesman would do that. No good gleeman would do that, because you're not going to make much money if nobody is fucking enjoying themselves. And then the next thing about this moment was like, it is so on the nose. Like, he's singing about the man who can't forget, and like, we all know he's talking about Lews Therin. Even if you didn't read the books, if you watch the extra clips, you'll definitely know who he's talking about. But he's singing about this, and he's looking directly in the eyes of our protagonists. I'm not going to say anything about who's who, but he's looking at them in the eyes.
Please don't look me in the eyes just yet.
Why don't you just point at them? Why don't you just be like, that's them! That's the ones we're after! There they are! It just felt like, this man's never met these kids. Why is he singing at them as if this is the most important thing they're ever going to hear? Personal preference, I just thought it was too pointed. And I just also think he should have sang a happy song. Anyways, then the next thing I didn't like about Tom was that he stole Matt's money, because that is such a cruel thing to do, which I can get, maybe they're making him a little bit darker, but stealing somebody's money who clearly looks like they haven't eaten in a few days and is dying is cruel. And then to laugh at him and say it was a lesson, yes, it was a lesson, for sure, it's a good lesson to learn, but give him his money back, you know? Like, also, I did not love his wig. His wig does not look good. I'll say what I said. Also, okay, moving on to another part with Tom and Matt. Let me say, nobody who is willing to kill an Aiel in cold blood and then hang him in a cage wouldn't also loot the body. You're not going to have any qualms taking their stuff. In fact, that might have been why he would kill them. I just think that was a cheap cop-out by the writers to have this big jewel, even. Next thing I did not love was how frickin' windy it is on the plains with Egwene and Perrin. It's windy, I get it, but we don't need to be hearing this for the entirety of their portion of the show. I can't whistle. Shut up! Shut up! It's so windy. I think I probably shouldn't make this complaint, because this whole book series is literally about the wind that rose. Yeah, whatever. So those are the things I didn't love. Now if there's one thing that I actually genuinely hate, And maybe I'll talk about it more. Hopefully I won't. But it's Baalzamon. This dude looks pathetic, looks ridiculous. He looks like a raisin who has indigestion. He looks like he needs a Pepto-Bismol and he will be just fine. I don't know why they showed us him in the 3rd episode, or even at all. They should have glimpses of him, and he should literally only be a silhouette, especially if this is the design they've gone with, because this is how horror works. The best way to make something scary is to never show them to you, because then it builds up your fear of what they possibly could be. So if you show a silhouette, maybe we could have imagined something scarier than this dry bag of skin that has got some, like, he just looks so pathetic. Like the only saving grace to this is that in the books even I was like, whatever. Like, even in the books I was like, okay, he's got fire for eyes, cool. But I was able to imagine something that was far scarier than what I'm seeing now. I'm not saying I'm a makeup artist. I'm not saying I know the solution. I'm just saying he's not scary and it just feels corny. Again, me and my harsh opinions. Now, things I'm unsure of, kind of going off of that last point, was the dream sequences so far have looked like 2000s horror slasher films and kind of like the Underworld series. It's not so much that it's a problem, but it just feels just a little outdated. So just general thoughts. I'm wondering, how many more people are we going to impale? How many more people am I going to be like, oh, God!
You're impaled!
When Tom's just like, whoosh, and Jane is like, I was like, oh, God! And when the Trolloc with the arrow, and then also the Trolloc's blade going through that kid and that was dancing with Egwene in the 1st episode, I'm like, how many times are we going to have, moments punctuated by somebody being impaled? There's some real gore in the show. I like the gore. You know what I would like, though? I would just like some hanky-panky. Like, just like a kiss or two. Yeah, I'd love to see another butt. And then my last thought, which is probably... It might not be correct, but it's something I was thinking that it would be actually kind of nice if the Trollocs could speak. I know in the books when Narg talks, it's like, really though? But this harkens back to the orcs in Lord of the Rings that can talk. Because when they can talk, it gives them an ounce of humanity that makes them that much scarier. Because if something is remotely human, then there's an element to them that we fear even more. Because human beings are the scariest thing on this earth.
All monsters are human.
Yeah, so those are my thoughts on this episode. Please leave a comment below with any of your thoughts. What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? And anything you'd like me to talk about in the future, because I'd love to hear from you. Anyways, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. My name's Carolina. This has been my couch. Ain't she cute? Make good choices. Oh, don't. I'm not your mother. Peace.